I've never been on another date. Well, no, we got to start over.
What?
We got to start over.
You the one who jacked it up. Don't worry about what I'm doing. I am not gonna. No, I'm not. Oh, Jesus, we. Well, hello. Thank you so much for joining us again. We are back, and we are back to talk about our testimonies as an SIP warrior. That's right. We are shelter-in-place warriors. We have spent how many years?
About 7 now.
7 now. 7 years sheltering in place. It's been a supernatural assignment, and what we want to do for you is to give you some tips, some tricks of the trade, if you will, of the sheltering in place situation that we're being thrust into right now, right?
Yeah.
What we're going to do is we're going to talk about what you can do to get through this period of time in your life and to make the best of it and learn from both our triumphs and some of our trials. So without further ado, let's get started with the first one in no particular order. Use your resources wisely.
Yeah, that would be a good one, because when you are sequestered, as the government has asked, it's not really a party, it's survival. And so if you're not able to just come and go as you please and go and do what you want, and now you have to check the store hours to see if it's open, and then when you get there, if the supplies are even available, you really have to be a lot smarter with your usage of your food, your utilities, your toiletries, and things of that nature. So definitely plan ahead and be wise with your choices.
And when we say use your resources wisely, we also are talking about whatever you already have. Like you said, take inventory of what you have. You know, go into the garage, go into your closets, go into your pantry, and also within yourselves. And try to determine, do I already have what I need on hand? And then to use it wisely. You don't use it up just because you have it, because you don't know what tomorrow is going to bring. Now is the time for you to be frugal and prudent in everything that you do.
Who's most at risk for coronavirus? People over 65, people with underlying medical conditions like heart disease, chronic lung disease, asthma, diabetes, people undergoing cancer treatment, and people with weakened immune systems. What should you do if you or a loved one is at higher risk? Avoid close contact with people. Avoid crowds. Stay home if you can. Wash your hands frequently. Learn more ways to protect yourself and others at coronavirus.gov.
Have you ever been on a street or highway and there's an accident, and you or another driver is so busy watching what's happening on the side of the road that you or that person has caused another accident, another wreck? Those types of distractions are very easy to get caught up in when you're sequestered in place. You can let news reports, politicians, world circumstances, how people are hoarding goods, what you think you need to do to protect yourself, what you're unsure of. These are all things that, yes, it is important to pay attention to. I'm not saying ignore them. I'm saying, though, they can be distractions to the point where you miss a great opportunity to hear from the Father because you're watching what's happening on the side.
So that brings us to our next tip. Resist the squirrel, or what I call the OSS, Ooh Shiny Syndrome, and focus in spite of the distractions. And what we mean by that is, you've seen, I don't even remember what movie it's from, but the person's like, oh, squirrel, and they get distracted by something, as he's saying, when you're in the car accident or you see a car accident and you cause another one because you're distracted, right? Well, when we look at the things that during the shelter in place journey and experience, you're probably going to be making some goals. I've seen a lot of people say, I'm going to keep exercising, I'm going to get my New Year's resolutions done now, or, I'm going to write that book, or I'm going to do this. And there's a lot of things that sound like great intentions, but they're only great intentions when they are actually accomplished. But what's going to happen, and we promise you this because we've been through it for 7 years, is that you will hear things on the news, you will see things on Facebook, you will have thoughts bombard your mind, you will be distracted by some things that seem really innocent, but 1 minute turns into 1 hour, 1 hour turns into 1 day, and there's nothing to show for it at the end of that day. So it is extremely important that you do resist the distractions, that you get just what you need to get from them, whether it's a refreshing, okay, sit back and just want to veg out for a minute and watch TV, that's great. But if you watch 10 movies, if you binge watch, okay, what does that have to show for that goal that you set when the government gave you an opportunity to sit at home and get that book written, or get that project completed, or get that business plan written, or
reconnect with your children, reconnect with your significant other, or just to take time to take a mental break from the stresses that you've had at work, at home, with finances, with your own personal struggles of insecurities or dealing with things from your past. This is a great time to really work on those things. Yeah. Okay. And complaining about the shelter in place, wondering when it's going to be over, are they going to extend it? Those are some of the types of distractions. Yes, it's important to know those things, but those are some of the types of distractions that can consume you, and then all of a sudden it's over and you look back and go, I didn't do anything.
And that leads into the next tip, which is really great. And that tip is, if at the end of the day, it doesn't matter, it never really did. This is one of my favorite quotes. So, and I think that fits perfectly to what you were just saying, where it's like, if you really if you get to the end of the time of we are sheltering in place, whether it's 2 weeks, 2 months, 2 years, it's not gonna be that long, y'all, but however long it is, when you get to the end of it, and whatever that thing is that consumes your time, consumed your mind, and took you away, distracted you away from that thing that mattered, that thing that really mattered, it never really mattered. If it didn't matter at the end, it doesn't matter now. And you have to think about it now so that you don't regret it because you did allow it to distract you. Anything else you want to share there?
No, I think we've actually covered that point thoroughly, and I hope sincerely that everyone really takes it to heart.
We'll be right back.
Why should young people care about the spread of coronavirus? Well, we know that people with underlying medical conditions over the age of 60 are at highest risk, but they've got to get it from somebody.
So we're asking everyone to be selfless for others so that we can protect those who are most susceptible.
Not going to bars, not going to restaurants. It all just means physical separation so that you have a space between you and others.
For more information on how you can social distance, please go to coronavirus.gov.
So here is the dealio. Okay. I'm not a pack rat. Would you call me a pack rat?
No.
But I have a lot of stuff. I have my entire life. I probably haven't let go of many things because they have value, right? I'm not a hoarder, but I have many things. And probably much like you guys do, you have those boxes and those, those tubs, that you get for like $6.98, $7.98 at the store. And you pack away things in it and you put it in your garage or in your attic or in a closet somewhere. You put it in storage in your basement. And it's important sometimes to go look through those things because you never know what types of experiences might lie ahead. And that brings us to the next tip, which is go on a treasure hunt. Go on a treasure hunt. instead of thinking about what you have to go buy, you know, a lot of individuals are worried if they're going to have a job at the end of the sheltering in place. A lot of individuals are looking at financial cuts. You know, they're running out of money. They have no money. They weren't living paycheck to paycheck in the first place. They were kind of chasing things, and now there's no money coming in at all. And so you're like, what do I have? And this is a great time to go on a treasure hunt with what you already have in your own hand, if you will. Do you have any thoughts on that one, or is that more of a girly thing?
Just one thought, and it relates to the other point that we talked about the distractions. A lot of times we have in our minds a list of things that we need on a regular basis. So while we're out and about, we go and get those things. But I know I'm guilty of this. I'll go buy something, put it away, forget that I bought it, and then go buy it again. Okay. So then I go to put away the second thing, and I'm like, where'd that come from? Oh, yeah, I bought that a week and a half ago when I first realized. So going on a treasure hunt in your house allows you to see the things that you've already acquired, things that you forgot about. Okay. Things you packed up because like, oh, I'm not using it now. It's a different season. I'll use it later. And then you go back and go, hey, you know what? I can use that, whether it's clothing, whether it's another household item or whatever, cleaners, whatever. And then you find out, you know, I bought a 24 pack of toilet paper 2 years ago, and it's way in the back.
Now you're gonna miss some toilet paper.
Well, when you buy it,
see what happened was
right. I mean, especially if it's something that you normally don't buy, but you happen to catch a sale and you bought it, you put it away, you forgot about it, then you went out and got some more because you forgot that you did something that you normally don't do. I mean, there's a whole series of what ifs that could have happened, but you'll never know if you don't go look. So it's good to go look.
And another tip for you is cast your cares. This one ministered to me so much during the 7-year journey of casting your cares, you know, because there's no reason for you to hold on to something that you can't basically deal with anyway. It's not your responsibility to deal with whatever's going on in our world right now. And the more you try to hold on to it, you're keeping it from the person who's already promised you will take care of it, and that's our Father. So can you think of a moment when you did not cast your cares and you held on to it and the regret you may have?
Well, okay. Simply put, there's too many instances of that over the years. What I will tell you is how I got away from that. I started to realize that the more I worried about things, the more I got in God's way of fixing things. And that was the first revelation. The second revelation is I noticed that he always allowed me to get right to the edge and give up and just say, okay, Father, if it's going to happen, it's going to happen. If not, then you have to fix it. To then fix it, to show me, okay, the sooner you get out of my way, the sooner I can fix it. So when I start to see things now, and I mean, she may even ask me questions. Okay, how do we have this going on? We got that going on. What's your plan? So I don't know. God hasn't told me yet.
And when he first did that, that frustrated the mess out of me, because I'm like, I am a planner, I'm an organizer, I'm a person who kind of knows what I'm doing, you know, one step in front of the next. And part of this 7-year journey of, you know, sheltering in place supernaturally was for me to walk away from always trying to hold on to my cares. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I just had to put that in there. Go ahead.
Yeah. And one other very important aspect of that I want you to understand. There's a difference between casting your cares and being careless.
Yeah.
There is a huge difference. The difference is casting your cares is an act of faith. It's an act of obedience. It's an act of love. And it's an act of acknowledging the faithfulness of the God that we serve.
Yeah.
it's an act of, oh, I know I'm his child and he's not going to leave me out, because he doesn't take his eyes off of me. So I know he's not going to leave me out here. And so what I have learned to do is to expect the unexpected. I'm always amazed, but I'm never shocked. And there are too many things that I can't get into right now that have happened here and around the world, literally around the world with me. That when the book comes out or the movie comes out, you'll be like, all of this couldn't have happened to one person. And so not only did it happen to one person, it happened in a very short amount of time too.
Right.
So what I'd like to say to you is, if you're like us, not just her, not just me, if you're like us, you're used to taking charge, you're used to having a plan, you're used to working it through. And he says, put that on my altar. Okay? Put your works on my altar, sacrifice it, and see what I do. And that was a hard concept for me to learn. It was a hard concept for her to learn. And I'm going to clue you in on something else. Even after you learn it, your human nature will want to revert back to it. Well, and you have to consciously, deliberately, and continuously fight you getting in his way.
Yes, definitely.